How about this? How about we remove everything so then I'm the star of the show? Hey, everybody, how you doing? I hope you're doing fantastic. Welcome to More Than a Medium Media, and of course, I am slow. Well, I've done everything I'm supposed to do. Let me pop off for 2 seconds. I'm going to jump right back on, guys. Give me 2 seconds. 2 seconds. Hold on. Let me leave. I'm going to leave you with this for a second. Okay, all right, we're back, and look at this. We're almost no longer slagging. Sorry, I'm trying. Oh, I know what I want to change to. This stuff is ridiculous. Anyways, before we go ahead and think that we're not going to mirror anything, we're going to be real time, everybody. I want you to see the real me. Can you see the real me? Can you? Can you? What the hell's going on today, everybody? I don't know. Armageddon 2.0. Are we seeing this? Are we seeing this? Are we coming in clearly? Let me break this down. Let me just come out hot right from the start. Are you ready? The reason why we were so disappointed coming out of and without any merit or retribution, we were 100% disappointed with the idea that every single thing that we thought this country was about, checks and balances, the good always wins, us versus them, and being righteous, was going to kick ass and take names. Right will always overcome. We shall overcome. We will fight the good fight every moment. Oh, yes, we will. Canadian Power Trio quote night is coming up. And without merit, without anyone's defined recognition of who we are and what we're about, we now have a leader that got away with assaulting a woman. He got away with an insurrection. He got away with burying his wife without an autopsy. Dude, it's thick. It's thick. It's thick. It is thick out there. We are thick as thieves with him. If you voted for him, I don't need to know your business. It's your business. Free country, right? You vote for whoever you want. Do I think he stole the election? 100%. Do I think his tech bros were directly involved? 100%. Was he about face ass kissing of the strength of people going, he's a fascist Nazi? Oh, vice president? I'll do that. By the way, am I filling up with smoke here? Sure am. The Cannibal Party. I love that. Know what I was doing at noon? I'm going to tell you what I was doing at noon. Smudge on my forehead. Oh my God. How do we boost the signal? At 12 noon today, I was having a meeting. People I trust, people I grow with. Setting down the backbone for more than a media network because they're coming for you. And by the way, I hope they don't. I genuinely hope they don't. But do not let this kumbaya bullshit get to you. Do not sit there and go, oh, it's fine. They want you to feel a false sense of security because that's what bullies do. There's always kind of this oscillating thing that they do where it's kind of like, and then you're like, ah, and then they're like, just kidding. I was getting my ducks in a row. So we have a voice. I was getting my ducks in a row. So we have a way to put it out there. And of course, my signal is screwed up right now. I did everything I was supposed to do. I reset. I restructured this. I made sure that the connection is good. I'm connected in 2 spots. Every single thing I did. And I'm going to freeze here for a second. I'm going to reconnect here. Oh, it's not getting any better. No, I'm super slow on my own feed here, and I think it's my computer. Just kidding. Oh, that insurrection. Just kidding. Oh, these files here in the bathroom. Just kidding. Yeah, about that whole like election thing. Like, I didn't really understand what that was. And I'm like, when I said find the votes, I meant find them, like, as in, like, could you look under? Are you sure you looked everywhere? I was helping him do his job. I found out later I shouldn't have been doing that. He didn't even say he was sorry. Didn't even say it was his fault. The thing that we were pissed off at the day after the election was the idea that everything that we thought was in place, our checks and balances, our legal system, our way of life, was upside down. And what the other side isn't recognizing, and by the way, my Facebook is just full of the, did you see, hope you invested in tissues because everyone's crying over there. That's my favorite. The I can't wait to see you in pain posts. Fucking nimrods. Oh, what are you so worried about? See, he's been in power for almost 13 minutes and not a single person deported or exported or whatever. Meanwhile, the people that joined him on stage said he's dangerous for democracy. He's a Nazi. He's a socialist. Everybody wants him to be who he is, to kiss his ass as a fascist. And he paid them the fuck off, everybody. Either he was paid off or they were paid off. They were paid off. And this is real energy, everybody. Political capital. You want to know who gave up something for this country? Liz Cheney. You know who gave up something for this country? Adam Kinzinger. Adam Schiff. Right? Cassidy Hutchinson. You want to work on your empathy today? Think about Cassidy Hutchinson, who absolutely killed her political career. Smudged that one. Killed it. Fucking killed it. Suicidal mission. That man wanted to overthrow the government, and he wanted to kill that guy over there. And they went, wow, that's really compelling. And then he went, well, you know, she had a one-night stand in college, right? Ugh. There's no depths. There's no depths to where we are. The reason why it feels dark isn't because the lights are out. It's because we're so far down in the hole. I want you to give your perspective. It is not because the lights are out. The lights are on. We just can't see them yet. That's why it's got to come here. We are no longer externalizing our belief systems. And I'm going to go off on his inability to touch a Bible as the Antichrist was anointed. I said it. The man has nothing good about him. Do I think that in the moment he could be a great guy? Sure. Somebody I want to have a beer with, or in this case, let him win at golf. The part that is so strategically horrific is, without a doubt, his inability to comprehend the magnitude of where he's at. Or maybe he understands it too well. By the way, those of you that understand the hermetic arts, alchemy, have stumbled upon the Knights of Templar work. I want to point this out to you guys so insanely clearly, it's disgusting. Pete Hetzig is a problem for knowledge. Pete Hetzig has the crucible crosses on his chest. It is the signs of the Masonic, of the Knights of Templar. It is the quest of knowledge that they protect. And one of the arcs that were never recovered was in Greenland. Dudes, this shit just got real. You put a guy with the crucible crosses on his chest, the sign of commitment to the secrets, to uncover and control, and you put him in charge of that, somebody's involved with the devil here, guys. Not mincing words anymore. That man has one mission, and that is to find the grails. That is to find the hidden secrets. That is why they talk about Antarctica. That is why they talk about Greenland. That is why they're going to start drilling in Alaska. Drill, baby, drill. It's not about oil. It's about what they can dig up. It's about what they happenstance come across. Guys, this is a battle for knowledge. This is not about your rights. You don't have any. They're arbitrary. They take them away at given notice, without given notice. I can't wait to fly on Wednesday. I know I'm going to get stopped. I know it. Texas, I'm coming to you. I'll be shedding light everywhere I go. I'm also figuring out who I am, and that's a dangerous thing. For those that don't get it, you soon will. I have an amazing class starting at the end of the month, and they get their email tomorrow morning with access to all of the fun that is. If you're interested, send me a message. I haven't decided if I've closed the class yet or not. tbrandonruss.com, register there, send me a note. But it's go time, guys. And you know that feeling that you have when you meet somebody? Sometimes you meet somebody and you're like, oh my gosh, there you are. Look at that light. I just want to hold your face. I want to see you. I want to recognize you again. I want to see who you are and what you're about. Debbie, send me a message. And you remember them and they make you feel good. They make you feel good about who you are. They make you feel good. They let you know that there's good in the world. They let you know that there's still reason to go out and talk to people. At the end of this video, I'm going to do a card pull for the future of this country over the next, in this administration, no matter how long it is. It is not Trump-centric. It is not J.D. Vance-centric. It is not Pete Hetzig. It is not Elon Musk-centric. It is centered around us in what we're going through. Because if you felt the things that I felt hearing the snippets and the parts about, well, the J6 people should get ready. Well, the Gulf of Mexico, we're just going to rename shit. Like an adoption. You get to change the name without recognition of the other ones. We're just going to go with whatever it is I feel like without respect of anything or anybody. I'm going to turn around and point to the judge on the Supreme Court and be like, fucking scumbags. Excuse my French. Total and absolute filth human behavior. Quit trying to predict what this guy's going to do. Shut up. Shut up. I love you all. We need to gird up our loins and know who we are. They're not going to come after your liberties. They've already showed you they're going to take them whenever. Your rights, your whatever you think you do. They're going to take a swing at every part of humanity that they can get away with. Oh, and if they can't get away with it, they'll justify it. Their line of thinking is dangerous. We're the last defense. We're the ones that are going to come in. Donald Trump didn't win this election because he had 49% of the vote. Donald Trump won this election because he got into the hearts and minds of everyone. He announced in 2015 he was running. And in 2016, he won. And for the next 4 years, there was a push and pull inside the White House about what to do. His unhinged posting, his unhinged thought process, his childish behavior used to be checked by people like General Milley. Used to be checked by people that had the know-all, the John Boltons of the world, who I don't agree with politically, but a sliver. But the one thing John Bolton said, well, if you want to do that, you got to be smart and diplomatic. And Trump said, I don't want to be diplomatic. You're in my way. You're fired. We hired a guy whose motto was, you're fired, when he didn't like what you did. We can go over time and again how much of an emotional child he is. Shut up. Point proven. We are wasting energy on talking about him being an asshole. Done. Next. During those 4 years, he was a complete debacle. What did he actually do? In political analysis, in presidential history, he ranked near the bottom. The only thing that was missing were literally Hoovervilles. And then the pandemic hit, and he handled it so poorly, it was a disaster. Were you better off 4 years ago? I'm going to tell you what was happening to me 4 years ago. I had a 2,800 square foot house full of practitioners, a crystal shop. I had weekly stuff going on all over the place, sound healings, message circles, all of it. I had a multi-million-dollar contract to be on TV. And you're going to ask me if I was better off 4 years ago? The universe is a fickle mistress, is it not? I had generational changing money coming to me via contract. Gone. Because everything closed because we had no faith in our healthcare system. We had no faith in our leadership on the state. I love it. I guess I hit a bone, didn't I? Hold on, I'm going to freeze again. God. Here we go. All right. All right. I hope we're better now. This is nuts. I've done 10 readings in the last week and nothing froze. Not once. Hold on. Let's see if this works. Oh, you can still hear me curse and swear and carry on. It's insane, guys. Hold on a second. Let me try this. Hold on. How's that look? No, it's not helping. I look like a fool. Maybe. Oh my gosh. I'm glad you can hear me. So I'm just going to keep going. But at the end of those 4 years, I literally had lost everything. Lost everything. And listen, I'm going to give him a half a how do you do, because listen, overcoming the COVID, global pandemic. And by the way, every country suffered, every country had a problem. But the grift was on. Listen, I am not anti-vaccine, but I didn't get it. And I'm hearing the copious numbers of health risks. And it's because he was a weak leader that he couldn't put a stop to this and say, let's put this through regulations. Let us understand the risks. But instead, he was made to look like a fool. And rightfully so. Shoot him up with bleach when you just put the cleaner in the stupid. That is literally the point where he lost me. By the way, I'm going to go back. I opened up my space in 2014, actually 2013, and kind of evolved it, opened the house. The day after the election that he was elected, there were people at my door crying because they couldn't believe that we would elect somebody that would attack women, that would be so egregiously rude, that would basically put the almighty dollar over everything else. Guys, we are the manifestation of our country. That man is the manifestation of who we are as a people. Like him or not, we elected a reality television star. And guess what? I was going to be a reality television star, and the universe said, no. That's not what we gave you that gift, B. It was a lot of money. A lot. When things happen to you, you should pause. When you get redirected, when people come in and out of your life for certain reasons and certain lessons, and you need to recognize the good ones and the good reasons, or the positive things after everything clears. We're in a different world now, though, because we gain more and more information. We reserve the right to change because we reserve the right to collect more information and influence our decision-making, our mindset, our points of view. If we're going to be an intelligent civilization, we have to learn how to change. But he hit the fear button every 10 seconds. He was like that patient that would hit the call button on the nurse, like, oh, yeah? Well, you know what? My platform's not going to have, I'm going to have as many characters as I want. And then, I'm going to have it like, oh, everybody's going to love it. It's like the biggest. It's like the best. Okay, Truth Social. Oh yeah, well, I mean, listen, it's like, hold on a second. I'm not the only one with files. I'm like not the only one that like took files home. I'm like the only. I'm not like the only one. Yeah. What? Did you check Joe Biden's garage from something from freaking 1994? That was long since declassified, but happened to be classified when he took it by accident because it was in some other boxes. Because he didn't have time to go through everything when he was leaving the House of Representatives going to the Senate. Big fucking difference than keeping it in your bathroom and going, listen, if you got to drop a deuce, go down to my lavatory. I don't know. It sounds like a fancy word, but I think it means shithole. And then you go in there, and the fourth box on the right-hand side has everything you need for the Saudi connection. The reason why there was reasonable doubt that Donald Trump was selling secrets, because he was. He also received an enormous amount of money from Egypt for nothing more than swaying the population vote. When I look back at what I had lost, I realized a couple of things. I realized that the people that I had around me weren't the right ones. They just weren't the right people. Some of them were fine. Some of them were flat out toxic to me. I mean, toxic. And then one day I just turned on YouTube and I said, hey, everybody, why don't I turn over some cards and see what you think? And I kept having these ideas of like split screens and talking to, people and connecting for them and sharing with them their loved ones and having it be a vehicle for people to set up readings and, have connection time and have something to look forward to, which was at the center and the essence of what the show was going to be. But I lost the producer and I lost the sponsors. I worked with the director that was on the phone with Will Smith while I was talking to him. I talked to another one because she was a personal attaché for the Wheel of Fortune. Not Wheel of Fortune. Price is Right. The new one. Talked to another one that was the ghostwriter for the 70s show. And just, I mean, these were powerhouse people. The film crew had just gotten done with the Deadliest Catch. So hanging out with a medium and filming in a warm place, they were loving it, man. They were like, this is warm and we get food. Oh, dude. I was playing around in a playground of people that were players, movers, shakers. It seemed real. The audio guy was out of a studio out in New York City who just finished recording Brandy Carlisle's album. Like, I mean, these were people that were like intricate and connected and they were leading the gig economy, and that gig economy brought them to me because I was a gig. I had a responsibility to those people. Turns out what I really had a responsibility to was my soul path. And it started me down this path of recognizing that there would be wins and losses. And I've met some amazing people. I've been to Florida. I've been to Memphis. I've been to Texas. I've been to California. I've been down to New York City. I've been over to Boston. I'm immersed in the upstate New York scene. And the amount of amazing people that I've met. And by the way, that's what's fueling my soul to begin with. I want to get out there and meet other walks of life. The basis of the show was for me to go to different healing arts centers, holistic spaces, and getting to know their modalities and talking to them about their modalities, helping them understand it, and then letting me share my gifts with them. We had a Buddhist temple set up in Seattle. and I still think I'm meant to go there. I was going to be going to Casadega that I eventually ended up going to on my own. And I was going to be going to, and Lilydale was in the works, but I was also going to go to Nova Scotia. I was going to be going to the Bible Belt to discuss what it was like to be spiritual in the Bible Belt. How do you evolve your gift when you can't hang your sign and say who you are? How do you become? How do you help others? I cried for 3 days straight. I felt like I let my family down. You know, the boys loved to have me at home. I literally packed up the entire house and moved it by myself. It was during COVID, and all of a sudden, nobody wanted to get sick. Now, I'm not busting their balls. I get it. But I did it alone. I also did a series of things that just pissed everybody off. I was mad. I was angry. I had literally just gotten a $10,000 loan so that then I could go on the road with a whole bunch of crystals and sell them as the side cart to all of this other stuff I was doing. And the first payment was default right out of the gate. Am I better off than I was 4 years ago? Check yourself. When people ask you that, think you had optimism. Joe Biden did a hell of a job. He really did. And you could say, oh, well, he was cognitively. Fuck you. The man turned the economy around. He literally, I mean, if the Dow Jones Industrial Average is what your vibe is, he only put it to the newest heights it's ever seen. Trade, healthcare, digital acts. Immigration reform was the third rail, and that's the only thing that they could really hit him on. Borders are instituted by Donald Trump. They want a czar. They want to sound like they're tough. They want to sound like they're cruel. They want to sound like that's what you need to protect me. Choose me or pay the consequence. Immigrant, minority, marginalized person. You know why you feel unsafe today? You feel unsafe because he attacked 81% of this country. Veterans, check. Black, check. Hispanics, check. Migrants, check. Puerto Ricans, check. Women, check, 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 check. Oh, this just in. Fucking check. The ones that he didn't insult were the white landowners with families that were Christian. Donald Trump would like to use logic and begin to kind of recognize, by the way, everything just kicked in. Hopefully I'm not going to stutter anymore. Donald Trump, it's going to be about a $20 billion You can't do that. He doesn't give a shit. You're also not supposed to be able to overthrow the government or try to and then be elected president. You're not supposed to be a convicted felon and be able to be the president. You're not supposed to have direct involvement with people of foreign power at your personal palace and not be investigated and not be on the up and up. He doesn't give a shit. He doesn't give a shit about you. Oh, and the angry, like girlfriend on the side over here that's sitting there going, he's my daddy. Fuck you, you unresolved trauma patients. This is an inadequacy of people facing their own challenges and looking and externalizing it somewhere else. End of conversation. Every single post you see about how great he is and about how mockery you are and about like, oh, your feelings, oh, you're this. It's because they are running away. They are doing what I rail against spiritual bypassing. Spiritual bypassing is the thing that is killing the spiritual business. We get and recruit people that are distracting themselves from their actual stuff and they dabble in it for a while and then they leave. And then they're like, well, it wasn't for me. What's that? Hard work, looking at yourself? Ding, 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 ding. What you're watching now with Trumpism is political bypassing. They would rather feel good in the moment than actually try and create a solution. Because if you had a logical fucking brain cell at all, I'm sorry I'm swearing like I am, I'm pissed. But for you to have a logical brain cell about any of the stuff that he's talking about, he nominated Tulsi Gabbard, who has been investigated twice for Russian interference in collaboration with oligarchs that lead directly to the Kremlin. And she's going to be in charge of dealing with international business. That sounds great. That sounds like a winner to me. That sounds like somebody's going to get rich and it ain't us. You create a new thing and you're going to put in charge of this the guy who owns a social media brand that manipulates algorithms as his livelihood, grifts on every business he's ever gotten involved with, takes it over, calls himself a visionary, and basically grifts off of other people's ideas. Now he's in charge of Doge, and he's grifting off the ideas of, you think you have freedom and money and that sort of thing? Oh, and his side action here, Vivek Ramaswamy, literally made millions of dollars off a pump and dump scheme that, when investigated, it was ruled to be a coincidental windfall. The fucking guy cut a check for somebody that shut up. He literally scammed tens of thousands of people out of their investment to put it in his pocket to support Donald Trump. He is created this lexicon of, if you can cause pain, I want to hear new creative innovation. The word innovation in the Trump administration is, are you innovatively going to subject and subterfuge the law and the will of the people? That's innovation. You think we're in trouble? Not even close. I think we're becoming. I think we see through these things. I think we see through the neocon Marco Rubio, who wants to go in there, demolish any peace offerings Israel and Palestine might have. If you listen to both sides of the conflict in Israel and Palestine, you can't help but feel sympathy on both sides of it. It takes master negotiation to get us to a point where we can actually understand what the problem is. And this problem ain't local. Yeah, Kelly, hang on to that. Vivek Ramaswamy is going to show up somewhere else, and that's the problem. Vivek Ramaswamy is Trump's brand of swine. And you have this piece, Pete Hessig, which has whatever, who absolutely is underqualified. Like, you can't. You had a 5-star fucking general in there before, and now you have a retired weekend warrior. And listen, all due respect to anybody in the reserves. My dad was in the reserves. They came to my dad 3 months before he hit his 20-year retirement, and they said, thanks for coming. He was discharged like literally 28 days before he would have hit his years. But Pete, he served. He also got kicked the fuck out because he showed up drunk. Oh, I'll quit drinking if I'm appointed. On behalf of all the recovery coaches, when you hear that, you kind of know that they're not really in it to win it. They're in it to bullshit you through that moment so then they can either get their drink, reassess their values, or whatever, and they never hit rock bottom. I'm going to say this. What Donald Trump is doing to Pete Hessig is killing him because he needs to heal. But if he's just fucked up enough to serve the authoritarianism of loyalty, he will use that until he's dead, and he doesn't really care. Ask Ivanka. He's more concerned with whether or not his whims will be carried out. And a 4- and 5-star general is going to go, yeah, that's not going to fly. Most military people that I know start the conversation with, I'm not politically aligned, but I think that the policy of this is important. I think the policy of that is important. They're able to see the trees through the forest. Oh, and let me tell you something. They are not happy when their budgets get cut. They are not happy when policies will affect them in the field. Could you make an argument that maybe women shouldn't be on the front lines? I don't know. But to say it because women don't belong is out of your gourd. And if you listen to the rest of Project 2025, it's so they can put them back in the kitchen. Work on your recipes, not your aim. During World War II, Rosie the Riveter became the call sign of women contributing to the war effort. You know what was happening during that time too? Women were getting out of the house. They were finding their independence. They were making their own money for the first time, and they were becoming the breadwinners. If you worked in a factory in 1940, or if you served on the front line, the person in the factory made more money. Now, granted, it was a capped wage. They weren't getting danger pay. They weren't getting any of those things. But on a base salary, you were making more going to work 6 days a week for the war effort. And then when they came home, they told them to go home. A league of their own, and baseball is such a great backdrop. And by the way, Bob Uecker was the real deal, guys. That man loved baseball more than he loved himself. Quick wit, humor. He's going to be missed. Just a bit outside. They should do his chart and show you how much he loves baseball. I did it once a long time ago. I'll do it again. But expect the unexpected. Expect them to push it. Expect them to go in directions that you didn't even see. We have to do better than this. We're smarter than this. We're not in a position that we have to sit back and take it either. Because at the end of, the 4 years ago was better. Yeah, it really was, because we had optimism. We had people telling us that, you know what? It was a thing. It was a blip. We didn't have to deal with woefully underqualified people just because of their loyalty. Elise Stefanik getting rewarded because she fucking doxed a Harvard president. They don't care which institution they weaken so long as they line themselves with the reward. I spoke at Yale. I was honored to speak to Yale. I spoke to Yale twice, and then I went on to speak at Stanford via Zoom link, whatever. If you don't know the story, there's elements of it in my book, but basically, in a nutshell, I got an opportunity to speak to the PhD candidates, those that were going for their doctorate in psychology. And what I was talking to them about was not only, the idea that ADHD and gift were kind of something to be considered as you're going through the methodology of it, not just medicate the shit out of a kid because they might be dealing with something in the spiritual realm. But then it was also the idea that bereavement was a very real thing, and that if they were going to be good psychologists, psychiatrists, whatever their path was going to be with their doctorate, they needed to understand that sometimes people need a medium to connect the dots. Your value system didn't matter. I was literally teaching a room full of highly educated, Yale educated people that when they spoke, they literally took the silver spoon out of their mouth to speak. I was teaching them empathy because what I said to them is, who are you to tell your client that talking to a medium is wrong, not beneficial, and ultimately bad-mouthing it to the point of being hurtful? Who the fuck are you? When you haven't explained it, you haven't explored it, and you haven't lived it. There was someone that challenged me and basically said, you possess all of the hallmarks of narcissism and psychopathy in a room full of psychologists. Look at that freeze. And he challenged me. He said, you sound like a narcissist. You sound like you're a psycho. And I said, what are you basing that on? He said, well, you're not grounded in reality. And I said, neither is Stephen King, or did you find the bodies? And he says, well, you are certainly full of yourself, and you have directed everybody in this room to lead you down a path to have you eating out of your hand as you talk about mysticism in whole other worlds. And I looked at him and I said, yeah, Mick Jagger does the same thing. And then he says, well, you live in this land of make-believe, and your brand of healing is dangerous, and us professionals will need to clean it up. And I said, that's very astute, considering you're literally a block away from the highest homeless population in Connecticut. And you're here jerking each other off, telling each other how great you are and you understand the world. You've already failed in my book. And he looked at me and I said, can you tell me your level of empathy and what you've done for someone else today? And I got rude. I got rude because he got rude. He basically villainized my soul path. So I said things like, did you check your account today and see if daddy put anything in it? Did you roll your eyes and realize that the beamer needed to go in for a few days? Are you really challenged right now to figure out if you're going to spend the time in Nantucket or down in West Palm? I mean, come on, let's get to the real. Let's get to the real right now. What did you do for that soul on the other side of the park that you walk through every fucking day? and you avoid him like the plague because guess what? He's a mirror of how close you really are if you didn't have all of these house of cards you just built up, you son of a bitch. I'm the narcissist. I'm the psychopath. The fuck I am. And I'll change the world doing it. And then I politely asked him, I said, how many children have you adopted? And he said, I'm 25. I haven't even thought about a family yet. And I said, well, you're not going to. You're too busy thinking about yourself. So I adopted 3 children in a sibling group, and I busted my ass to make sure they stayed together. I went through court dates. I talked to law guardians. I hired lawyers that I couldn't afford, and I'm still paying for today. And guess what? You're going to sit here and call me a narcissist and a psychopath because I have a conviction of my soul path? When you are determined in who you are, you look crazy. You're a little offbeat. You're a little disorganized. You make people around you a little jittery because they're not used to having people know who they are. Every single person in the Trump administration only has one thing in common. They kiss his ass. Period. Period. J.D. Vance is so strong in who he is. He said he is a Nazi. Oh, vice president? When you become who you are meant to be, becoming who you are meant to be looks like an act of insanity, an act of rebellion, an act of who the world wanted you to be versus who you really are. I just got to the bottom of every single person listening to this problem. You have to go through the transition now. You have to go through the transition of balancing paying bills and figuring out who you are. You have to manage relationships and obligations that you've had along the way. That's what good people do when they realize that they have to pivot and go in a different direction. The people that sit there and say, listen, I took a ride out to Baltimore Jack. I went out for a ride and I never came back, is the wrong way to deal with things. It's a bypass. It is going right past what your beauty is, your ability to fulfill your obligations and do what you're meant to do at the same time. We are dealing with people that will bypass whatever it is for fame, for money, for success. They think that this is success. You can't rationalize that. You cannot rationalize them thinking that they are successful right now. You can't. You just can't. So don't bother. And the people that are following them, they are sucking their energy. Let them drain them. Because when they realize it, it will be too late and they will turn around and look at us and say, can you help me? Good luck with that. I have to do some work right now on forgiving you for voting for somebody that hates my gay sibling, that hates my trans cousin, that hates that immigrated friend, that I can't get over that you voted for someone that normalized assaulting women. Any person, really. And by the way, women aren't the only ones that are assaulted, guys. But women, he's got a type. And it's 2 legs only. You have this awareness and this becoming in this world. We had a major fire in a major city that had major problems fighting it. They were fighting global warming. They were fighting underfunding. They were fighting, trying to put out 1,000 fires at once. That doesn't get to the end of the line for the water. That's a problem, but they couldn't have foreseen it. They have a problem with insurance companies going, we're going to save our ass and cancel all of them. By the way, I got my cancellation this week. I found a page out there. I'm not going to say their name, but there was one group that they announced that they sent out 29,000 notice of cancellation because they're at risk. I'm going to tell you what it is. They took money from you long enough that they were comfortable with to quote unquote insure you, but since you might have had maybe some fiscal trouble in the last 5 years, oh, go figure. Or maybe your shutters aren't up to code, or maybe there's whatever, a tree that overhangs something. They find the littlest thing to say, we're good with the money you've given us. And before you actually make good on it, we're going to cancel you. We're going to screw you royally. But we're okay with that because you're going to find another lender. You're going to find somebody else. Don't get me wrong. We loved you for the time that you were at. In the 27 years, is it 27? How old am I? ...20-something years that I was with this brand. I have paid them on time. I paid them fastidiously. I have gotten my business insurances through it, my riders for events. I have literally worked with them cover to cover from day one. I was brand loyalty. I have paid them to insure my house. I figured this out. Almost $32,000. If I had paid that into my house, I would have paid it off by now. Because it would have reversed the amortization, or it would have been done in, I think I figured out, I would have been done in 3 years. But instead, I carried this ridiculous insurance policy required by the people that wanted to get their money back from me. Oh, I'm sorry. Ponzi schemes are illegal, right? I mean, somebody's going to fight for me now, right? When no one is doing the right thing in leadership, why are the individual contributors going to do the right thing? They're not. I went through the McDonald's drive-thru on Friday because every once in a while, I get myself a little breakfast love. I love a little dub-dub in my tub-tub, you know what I'm saying? I like it when it goes right here. So I get myself the breakfast burritos. By the way, protein bomb. And by the way, I don't eat the whole hash brown. I just eat the top and the bottom. And like around the edges. I don't eat the whole thing, though. And boy, you know what was going to go good that day? My sugars were good. My levels were good. I'm going to have an orange juice. And what came out was water. Orange-looking water. Now, I had remembered some months ago when I was putting a little yum-yum in my tum-tum then. And I got it. I'm like, boy, this is awful. And I took a sip of it and I went, this is terrible. Right? Yeah, we're going to address this here in a second there, B. Like literally without notice, he's just going to wield his thing of, yeah, I got all of your messages. I love you guys. I have an awesome fucking team, by the way. Awesome humans surrounding me. Tummy is smiling. Yeah, we're going to talk about the Jan 6 here, people, in a second. But are any of you surprised? I mean, is anyone genuinely surprised that the January 6th criminals were commuted or otherwise pardoned? Come on. Come on. It's a permission-based bad behavior. So anyways, back to my number 7 with orange juice. I take a sip of it and it was awful. Flat out awful. And I knock on the window. Ding, ding, ding. Excuse me, this tastes like shit. And he was like, oh, I'm sorry, what do you want me to do? You want another one? And I watched him walk back, pour mine into the top, use the same cup and squirted it again, hands it right back to me with a new straw. And I said, what did you change? What changed? Well, I don't know. I just figured it mixed different. And then I'm like, he has no incentive to do the right thing. He has no incentive to actually realize that the mix is off and change it. Because the person that did mix it gets paid on what comes out of there. All right, guys, let's talk about the January 6th stuff for a second. First of all, I want to take a look at the astrology here for a second. And I want to point out a couple of squares that are going to ruin your day. So what you have is the behavioral chart of the relationship between everything in the sky, which is why it's only half taken care of. Without turning this into an astrology class, the top is the one set, right? And then the side is the connection to those. And then right here is the connection between those. So in other words, Mercury is sextile to Venus. You see this asterisk right here? If you follow Mars or Mercury on the top, the third one in, and go down to the fourth one, that is sextile. So two things. You have Jupiter that is squared Venus. That ain't good for you women. It's just to let you know. But wait, there's more, because Saturn is squared to Jupiter. This is tremendous. This is going backwards, guys. In astrology, this is going backwards. Right? You also have Pluto squaring Uranus, which we've been talking about for a while. This is the use of integrated technology. This is about rhetoric as a form of communication. Or it is about like a kumbaya. Whatever it is, it's not facing reality. But wait, there's more. Happy birthday, Kiki. You have Mars up here at the top trining the North Node, which means that we are being catapulted into a destiny of anger, of action. Now, could it be positive? Not based on the other dipshit decisions we've been making. And I'm sorry, it is we. You also have Mercury trining Uranus, which is the execution of all of this new world order. Mercury, this is the one I want you to sit with. Mercury squared Chiron. Yeah. We have to heal from this day. Mercury is about action and communication. He decided to pour salt into the wounds. You're going to go ahead and pardon 1,500 people that literally broke the law 6 ways to Sunday? You're going to commute 6 of them. Oh, and I don't want to hear that Biden pardoned his family. He was protecting them, guys. He didn't do a fucking thing wrong. They don't want to dig it up to a point where it's ridiculous. He just wanted to end it. Joe Biden did the most healing thing he could have done to Hunter and pardoned him and said, get into fucking rehab. I want my son. I lost a daughter to a car wreck. I lost a son to brain cancer, and I don't want to lose a son to drugs. But Donald Trump doesn't understand that because he doesn't drink. He looks down on those with weakness. For a man that basically snorted half of Manhattan in the mid-'80s, he's in an awful place to judge. He didn't learn any of his life lessons. That's why he's so dangerous. How is this going to go? Oh, by the way, did you see the close-up of his ear? Doesn't look like somebody that got shot 7 months ago. The man is the cruelest of liars. He lies right to your face and goes, huh? 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 Hey, well, the oligarch is a reference to the family, to the money, to the grift. The thing that Joe Biden didn't recognize in his parting shots was, look at all the other presidencies. Look at all the other politicians. Nancy Pelosi has grown her portfolio 18,000 times since she's been in office. And dare we say insider trading. The Clinton administration lied its fucking teeth off and pretended he didn't do anything wrong when he even admitted it and grifted the shit out of that. The Bushes grifted on war after war after war after war. And the Cheneys orchestrated it for them, and he looked the other way, and now he just does paintings. Joe Biden was one of the good guys because I think he genuinely wanted to have it be the right way. Jimmy Carter was an okay president, but he was an incredible human. That's leadership. Trying and having effort and not being filled with a room of sharks that just want to pick you apart all the time. We're not on the same team. Everybody is on team me. The only thing that we have going for us on this side is that what is going to happen in that White House, in those briefing rooms, in those behind the scenes thing, is they're going to cannibalize themselves. They're going to eat each other whole. Somebody's going to turn to the other one and say, well, that's Cassidy Hutchinson of you. Who are you talking to? Kinzinger? Why don't you go back to Wyoming where you belong? Do I sound like I have angry rhetoric? You know, peace-loving people, to a certain degree, have a right to everything from free speech to owning a gun, to voting, to owning land, to paying taxes. We can lose all of our focus on blaming the shit out of the shit bag that he is because he commutes those that conspire to him. Loyalty matters. Loyalty is the only thing, is the only commodity to Donald Trump. Loyalty is the only value system he has. Loyalty in money, loyalty in sacrifice, loyalty in doing the things that he can't do. Has Donald Trump ever been punched in the face? Has Donald Trump ever had to pick someone else that fell down? Has Donald Trump ever felt a fucking thing? He doesn't feel us because we're just tools to him. The United States is a corporation that he just took over. He broke their rules. He broke their laws. He broke our hearts. And he doesn't care about anything. He's got house money. I wouldn't be surprised if we are mobilizing to take over the Panama Canal right now. Interesting thing, and by the way, shout out to the Y-Files for being such a good publication, a good, fair publication. And I was getting caught up on Knights of Templar work because I wanted to really understand the crosses on Hetzig. And and one of the ones that really kind of talked about the Knights of Templar, their creation and kind of their dissemination. And I'd worked with someone that had been a Rosicrucia, who is believed to have put the pillars in Georgia. Like there's a lot of spider webs to this stuff. And one of the things that I had not heard, and I've since done a little bit of reading on, is that the Ark of the Covenant was divided up into 10 parts. And there are different artifacts that are to the creation of our spiritual nature. And it does not resonate with Moses, although it's one of the stops along the way. It does not end with Jesus. It is just a pillar and part of the example of who we're supposed to be in the Piscean Age. It actually goes back to Zoroastrian faith and understanding the secrets of being connected to off-planet work. And again, we can look crazy when we talk about this, but you're telling me a guy hung on the cross, died, came back, and you're not going to accept the idea that I'm going to believe in reincarnation and people from another planet? I'm the crazy one. And in a religion where John the Baptist ruled for a long time, Jesus had to kind of be like a counterbalance to things. He needed to be the example. He had to be this. And there were 3 secrets that really have been revealed over the last 40 years. You know, when we got the Rosetta Stone and began to understand hieroglyphics in the 1940s, 30s into 40s, that was really critically important because when we started to see these hieroglyphics, we started to see those hieroglyphics around the world. We saw them in Mexico. We saw them in Central America. We saw them in South America, North America. We saw them in China. We saw them in off islands. They're in Easter Island. They're everywhere, just not Egypt. So the dissemination of this knowledge is further than what we ever thought. And if you want to think that a fisherman got onto the boat and then went ching, 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 oh, we all speak the same language. Fine, cuneiform. However, the theory of being able to kind of like float around on top of stuff and get to where it is that you need to and all that other thing, it just makes better sense. The logic of it there is here. We go up, just not over. The second thing is with the ossuary, which is the belief that what they had found was the Holy Family's burial site. The Holy Family, yeah, Joseph and Mary Magdalene, and Jesus and their children. This hidden knowledge was hidden because we felt we couldn't understand it or we couldn't see it. But yet we've all felt it. Why did they literally eliminate everything in the Bible from the age of 12 after he turned over the tables in the temple to when he began to preach again at 30? Why was Mary claimed to be such an unclean woman, which, by the way, when it was rewritten in the King James Version, became an unclean woman of the night? An unclean woman means so many different things. But since it was the patriarch, they needed her to be a whore. There, I said it. Meanwhile, Mary Magdalene's energy in its purest form isn't promiscuous at all. It was that she understood the knowledge that Jesus needed to become who he was meant to be. She was able to keep him grounded and help him grow at the same time. She bared fruit. She grew who he was. And one of you lucky listeners is a descendant of that Jesus Christ. You want to let things get real again? You want to have faith in something that you didn't see coming? Why would they want to hide this from us? The last piece is that the dissemination of the ark, good old-fashioned Indiana Jones chasing after it. They found sarcophaguses in the Great Pyramids. They found sarcophaguses in the pyramids in the Mayan culture. They all had these sarcophaguses, which are fancy words for coffin for the leaders. Coffin for the leaders, right? But it really was a little too small. But you know what would fit in there? These arcs that were gold laden and could create energy with them. Legend has it that they know where 7 of them are. The 3 that are missing, can't make this shit up, guys. The 3 that are missing, the Knights Templar took them, put them on their ship and said, move these as far away as possible and separate them because whoever combines them will have the power. By the way, it is what Hitler was chasing after. Where are the 3 that are missing? I really hope you're sitting down, guys. The 3 that are missing are believed to be in Greenland, Canada, and Panama. Yeah, holy shit is right. Shout out to the Y-Files for putting me down that rabbit hole. They do some incredible work. Incredible work. By the way, please follow me on Blue Sky. I am Lilith11. I am Lilith11 on Blue Sky. I think we need to be on as many platforms as possible. And I'm still trying to figure out where my on Blue Sky. So I want to paraphrase 1 John 5:18-21. And those of you that saw my Blue Sky post, it looks like about none of you saw it. We've got to outclass them. Sorry, am I frozen again? Yeah, Oak Island is another one. Good job, Hattie. So John 5:18-21, in a paraphrase sort of way, is basically, and the unclean shall not touch what is pure. And for that reason, evil will be afraid of it. Do you remember all those vampire movies? Blue Sky is another platform that is going to be the counterbalance and not controlled by Elon Musk or any of the other tech bros. It was created by someone that got fired from Twitter because Elon Musk said you know too much information, and if you don't work for me, you can't work for anybody. And he said, hold my hat, and created Blue Sky. So to paraphrase John 5:18 to 21, it basically says, unclean hands shall not touch that which is sacred. Please look at this picture. Please look at this picture. The brim of her hat comes over her eyes like an undertaker as she holds the Bibles true. One is the King James Version, and the other is Lincoln's Blue. She held the Lincoln Bible and the King James. He touched neither, because his deal is not with above. And Melania, that cruel, wicked witch, the one who held it with both hands because it was heavy. What's your favorite Bible verse? Well, I have so many. Hands to Cain. I love that, Serena. Serena's going to be a leader here. She does look dead. He didn't put his hand on the Bible, yet he grifted on every white national Christian along the way. The succubus. Oh, yeah, in his ear. Good call, Kat. That ear just looks like, it looks like a miracle. Now, I'm entering into another conclusion, or at least another opportunity. Number one, it was staged. Please hold. It was staged. And listen, I'm not a Bible beater, not a Bible thumper, but I know where the fuck it came from. Maybe I had to read all of the laws of God so I knew where to break them. And I'm slowly realizing that they're really just manipulations of man. Does that look God-fearing to you? Does that look Christian to you? Does that look human to you? Do you see the pain on his face? Oh, by the way, you want to hear a shot heard around the world? He told you exactly how he was going to steal the election right here to the sign. Holy crap. St. John's Church, parish house, as he holds the Bible upside down to say, like, well, my Lord, I at least mock them. You know what would go great in this? Revelations, the death and destruction of man. The Gospels, the way of life of Jesus and the parables, from his creation, from the Alpha to the Omega, from the beginning to the end. The example of a perfection of family and love. He holds it upside down in disrespect. It's one thing to make an honest error. It's another thing to not be briefed. He has every resource at his helm for someone to say, at least hold it upright. But read the board with me, will you? Just read along with me. Sunday services. We'll get back to that because SS is a thing. Online, how else is he going to steal it? To influence you online. The algorithms, your voting habits, your thought processes, your worth, your value. Look at me, I'm famous. Click. All are welcome. Clergy, the Reverend Bob Fisher, rector. The term fisher is a throwback to the fishermen that Jesus recruited. And the revelation of John, boom, that's why you in here. Fisher represents the fishermen, the grift, the recruiting method. Jesus was surrounded by fishermen. Forget about him coming down on an escalator, everybody. This is hitting home. Because wait, there's more. Plain Jane. And I have to do a touch of research mid-story here. Jane is such a plain name, isn't it? Right? I want you to take a look at this. He is literally mocking international law. By the way, I had no idea why I picked this picture. But I'm understanding this. Jane Milliken Hague. The Hague is the International Tribunal Court. Jane is plain. Women got it. Cover you. Own you. Milligan is the little bald one, the deteriorated one, the one that no longer has influence. In other words, your women are not safe. It literally put the world on notice, everybody. Shit just got real, didn't it? William Morris. However, don't it look like villain? Don't it look like villain? And by the way, in the Bible, Saint Maurice, which is is for the martyred Saint Maurice. Morris is just an altercation of the name. What did Morris do? Saint Maurice. He only led the Israelites out of Egypt during persecution. This sign is literally calling anyone that protects the Jews a villain. And you're like, but Brandon, they're saving Israel. Trust me, they're positioning themselves. Don't worry. Don't worry. I know I keep freezing. I'm going to look for an entirely new setup. Don't you worry. Oh, I'm not done. What is a savanna? Well, I will tell you that a savanna is about abundance. The Greek word for a rich harvest. In Arabic, savanna is translated. And if you're familiar with the alchemists, so they worked with manna, which is organic growth of a plant that is no longer on Earth, but is said to be housed in Antarctica. Right? Savannah is the manna, my friends. Right? And then ponder. Ponder your richness. That's literally what it's saying. Of course, that church was closed. It had honored someone that was not pure. And listen, what is pure? What is purity, guys? There ain't a single one of us that meets that criteria. Right? At 12 years old, Jesus would have been turning over tables in the temple. Do you know why? Do you know why? Right here. Now, why would he be able to hold that with a smile? What's in it for him? He's a criminal. He's a rapist. He's a con artist. And by the way, you can say, well, he's got some good points. Whatever. Whatever. Here on Martin Luther King Day, I'm just judging him on the content of his character. I love that line, Phoenix. Because I was born to be an American. One of the other things that the Knights Templar believed in was not the man Jesus Christ. As a matter of fact, when they found its bones, how do you like that? Yeah, how did we get there, Laura? I love that comment. I am going to go through some of your comments, and then I'm going to go to the card spread here. I'm going to be using 3 decks. I'm going to be using 2 tarots. I think this is pretty important. Again, this is the energy of this administration. And I'm going to be using a deck I haven't used in a while, but the dust was shaken off really, really well. And I'm going to use a deck called Soul Seeds. You bring up something important here. Is I'll be the last to go, first to know. So I'm gonna scroll back and start to grab some of these comments. Mama O, good to see you. Ashley, good to see you. Bill, thanks so much for being here. Elizabeth, yes. Leslie, good to see you. Kay Uric, good to see you. Tracy, as always. Paula, Jeanette, Sheila. Yeah, Kat, I think we're all a little nauseated today. Diane, good to see you. Lizzie, look at you making comments. Janet, yeah, definitely a Joker outfit there. Serena, counting down 1001, 1002, 12. Oh, that was when I was probably fixing my camera stuff. I am full of snark tonight. Thank you very much. I am a bit of a tease. Here we are. Donna, good to see you. Debbie, I hope let's connect. Janet, great to see you. Tina Marie, haven't seen you in a little bit. Black Bell, always good to see you out there. That at least tells me you're cleared for some things. Magical Mermaid DIY artist. I love that name still forever. Sarah, Debbie, Melissa, Anne, great to see you too. Judith, as always, Anne, Elizabeth, again, different Elizabeth. Carol, how are you? Yeah, I'm not interested in seeing anything that he has as well. Aaron, yeah, these executive orders are they're just crazy. They're just crazy. Sean, good to see you. Good murder mystery. Good for you. Good for you. That's not a call sign either. We don't believe in. Yeah, the Nazi salute is a thing. Protection words. Hey, Kevin, I like that. Guys, I really like this. Kevin, I hope you're still on. I'm not crying. I'm creating new protection words. I'm okay with that. Deb, I love to see you here. As always, Hattie, great contributor as always. And Free Luigi. Yeah, that's funny. Pauline, how are you? Giving you guys a shout out, seeing some stuff. Gene has an interesting comment here. I want to pick this apart a little bit too. I've often felt this could be good against evil. I hope I'm wrong. You're not wrong. But this situation is pretty terrible. It's not terrible. It just is. Instead of judging it, when you judge it, you are sending energy to the other side. We sent energy to Donald Trump the last 4 years talking about him. I am partially to blame. I did videos on the man. I'm going to own it, and then I'm going to move on. We are not going to be obsessed with the problem. We are going to get obsessed with the solution. Do you hear me? We need to get obsessed with the solution, not the problem. What are we going to do about it, right? What are we going to do about it? Pray for you, humanity to wake up. Maybe this is the first one to see the light and the truth. The energy today is heavy-hearted. The people that supported this don't see it, and they won't until they are left in the cold. Coulda, shoulda, woulda, coulda, woulda, shoulda. Good to see you. Gene, thank you for that. Yeah, it's very heavy. It's a very heavy energy, right? The Constitution is as meaningless as toilet paper. Hang on. Could it rise for us to write a new one? You know, we thought that all the levers of justice were going to get us there. We thought that all of the levers of democracy were in place. We thought our neighbors had common sense to see what we were seeing. Like, let's be honest, we're as pissed off at our neighbors that voted the other way or didn't vote or didn't support or didn't whatever. Kamala was incredibly flawed. She came into the race in a near impossible situation. Who joins a race 3 months out and expects to win? Meanwhile, he's got 9 years of capital built up on this, and it's not money. This should have been a one and done president. They should have decided halfway through the first year to say, we enjoy this. And guess what? Because of some deteriorating health, we're going to let Kamala take over the main day to day. The rest of us would have been like, this is fucking brilliant. Oh, look at this. It was just a ploy to get Kamala in there. She's not qualified. Whatever. She could have proven herself. She didn't. And she lost because there's enough marginal people that are still stuck on the 3D plane going, well, are they a good politician? Sure to drink, like, and subscribe. I'm sorry. This is going to get ugly. Janet, I agree with you there. Yeah, the drinking bleach. He does score at everything at the bottom of lane. Oh, you guys are great. These chats are so great. Yeah, Tracy, you bring up a really important point. Isn't it such a coincidence that COVID came after Big Pharma was sued for the opiate abuse, who was making the vaccines? That is a legit question to be like, how did they get so much of this? Yes, Nova Scotia is beautiful, Elizabeth. SKB, yeah, Muskrat gave 2 Nazi salutes today. I'm going to look that up. I need to see that shit. I'm going to go off on that crap. The guy should not be in anywhere near this. Good point. And again, Maggie, it's about loyalty. He'll look the other way and be like, well, here you go. Lenny, good to see you. Planetary alignment abound. Yeah, this is going to get us to where we need to go. Right? You're right, Ken. Nobody does give a shit. The battle between Elon and Vivek. By the way, if there's chaos inside, there's going to be chaos outside. And thank you so much. Yeah, he looks unhappy, old, and sick because they pulled his lifeline. Neocon, neo-Nazi, very similar. They are different, though. The neocon wants to conquer the world for democracy, and the neo-Nazi wants to control it to do things like eugenics and race bait. Yeah, astrologically 45, now 47. How pissed are we that, like, you do realize that both of his presidencies are now 9 and 11. 45 is 9, 47 is 11, 9/11. Here's your tragedy. Donald Trump. I'm sorry, did I just go numerology on you? I think I did. He convinced everybody that there was an enemy, Ken. He convinced everyone that the illegals were coming to kill us all. Yeah, no, yes. Yeah, and not how sober works. Oh, I love your comments, everybody. Astrology is free will. You guys are so smart. So smart. Hey, Kathy, I know you joined a little bit late. All right. I want to get down here. Oh, yeah. Tracy, it's no mistake about the insurance companies that are doing this, right? We are alive tonight. He's now Pres 9/11. Oh, follow me on Blue Sky. That is so a post. President 9/11. President 9/11. I love our little work group here. All right, guys. Are you ready for the real? Are you ready to really kind of look at this? I'm not kidding you guys. I'm going to use that. Hi, how are you, everybody? I just need to kind of put that up there so that we. Oh, yeah, here we go. All right, camera 1, camera 2. This is me making sure I got my cards and stuff right here, and I got my stuff here. So we're going to be using, and we're going to have strength. Yeah, President 9/11. Will you guys please let me post that and then share the shit out of it, please? Please, I have to grow this. They told me to take over the world in the nicest way possible. So if you could do this, I'll make the meme after this. I'll set it out in Blue Sky, then share it the fuck everywhere. Sorry, I'm sorry I'm swearing so much, guys. The filters are gone because the kindness feels useless. I used to be kind. I still am. I'm kind to the people that matter to me. But I don't subscribe to this nonsense. I genuinely don't. I think, why is there pain in the world? How have we not? Listen, guys, let's look at this from a human standpoint. How have we not gotten to the bottom of world hunger? How have we not? Why do we have guns anyways? Why do we have war machines? Because it employs a lot of people. By the way, if you worked for the military industrial complex, you were part of the problem. I mean, listen, I was part of the problem to keep Donald Trump in the lexicon of things. Let's be honest. Let's be brutally, brutally, brutally honest. I helped get Donald Trump elected because I did videos about him and allowed him to stay in the consciousness. I'm to blame too, guys. You kept saying that things were wrong that he did, and you weren't wrong by saying it. But it gave him power. He grifted on our inability to feel safe, and we used our words to express ourselves. So how we're going to lay this out, we're going to do a call, and we're going to do a response, and then we're going to pull out these personal cards with what we could do personally. How about this one? These are what these cards look like. I listen to my intuition and trust my inner guides. So the last card is going to be about what we can do about it, right? We're going to have a series of these. First of all, I love that you guys like and subscribe. Thanks for coming along into this. I want you to be able to say, I remember when. All right, guys, here we go. We're going to go 3, 3, and 3. 3 on the top is how do we get here? What's our condition? Well, let's see if I can do this. This is going to be too tight for this. But we've got the King of Swords. King of Swords is definitely a daddy issue. It's definitely about making sure we understand that there's a harshness to the world. There's a righteousness, though. The righteousness is about being in charge and having the right thought process. So we're coming from a good place here. Maybe we're overextended. You know, we're going to go 4, 4, and 4 with the space here. The Knight of Cups comes out because we want to be everybody's hero. We want to be everybody's knight in shining armor. But we never really fulfilled it, did we? The 8 of Cups is about losing something where you feel it's near completion, but there's an illusion to it. There's a distraction to it. What's our distraction? Come on, what is that distraction? It's a new mindset. It's a different mindset. Look at this. And by the way, this represents the United States coming into this. That we have our King of Swords, our mission fait accompli. We're not here for a long time. The Knight of Cups, also known as the Knight in Shining Armor. I'm going to give love around the world. The failed conquests, one after another. The 8, a very sacred number to the Freemasons, to the Knights of Templar. And by the way, the Knights of Templar broke up and went in many different factions. It's fascinating. But 8 was their sacred number. Page of Swords, a new idea. Kind of an evilness to them as well. Let's see where else we go with this. Can't make this up. The Queen of Swords. Losing out. I can't believe all of the court cards in this. You guys saw me shuffle. You guys saw me shuffle quite a bit. The Four of Cups, the FOMO card. Guess what this also lays itself to, guys? The idea that we feel ordained, but yet we were perfectly happy where we were, but we're getting greedy. Ten of Wands. You know what that is? It's taken on too much of the burden. It's taking on the idea that we are no longer, part of this world. And by the way, where does this sit? This sits in the cold of December. You have your Cancerian card here, like hey, what's in it for me? And then you have the Ten of Wands that comes out right here. And let me tell you something about the Ten of Wands. It's not all bad. Not all bad. Nope. But it does represent the idea that you can't be in your dreams. You can't be who you are. You can't be in your sweet spot if you have too many obligations. So maybe we as a country, we're just taking on things on the chin. Three of Wands. Deciding where we're going to go. The experience of the past, the connection to the future, and where we are at now. Has our ship come in, or is it about to sail? Can't make these cards up. And where are we going? King of Cups, everybody. Are you seeing this? By the way, an exorbitant amount of masculine energy here. I'm seeing if the females are showing up. The King of Pentacles. It's going to be a gunfight like we never saw before. The Lord of the Flies card. The Five of Wands. The change. What do we need to do? Eight of Swords. How do you like that? Holy shit. The Eight of Swords is about going within. The Eight of Swords is about recognizing that you had the power all along, Dorothy. And look at these eights. The losing out when we're trying to please everybody else. When we take on the burdens of stuff, and then we're fighting over resources. That's what these combos are. The King of Pentacles, along with the Five of Swords, is fighting over resources, fighting over control, fighting over power, fighting over time, value, money. And we go within. This is about being self-reliant. Don't fight over your shit anymore, guys. Don't spend the energy. You ready for the doozy? Two of Wands. This defining decision of the earth versus your needs. Right? I like that interpretation, Bill. How do we fight dark magic? Be the light. Be the light. But as I offered, we're going to go top row here. So what we've laid out here from start to finish, where we are, who's your daddy, who's in charge, we're gonna love bomb you. We're gonna leave you guessing, and we're gonna let you institute a new way of thinking, our way of thinking. We are going to be emotional, but not really give a shit. We're going to let you feel like you left out and you were FOMO'd and you were not part of the crew. And we're going to overburden the situation, and we're going to have to decide who in the hell we are. We're going to have the knight. We're going to have the King of Pentacles, the basis of practical application of things. But we're going to fight over it. We're going to fight over our resources. We are going to be forced to go internally and trust our own intuition. By the way, an Aquarian card. First full week in February. Is this telling us that the first full week in February, shit hits the fan? And then the Two of Wands. Now the Two of Wands is an Aries card. Boom to the boom. Is this laying out there from the 1st of February to about the 10th? And the March Aries, the end of March. Is this a significant thing? Well, we're going to cover this King of Pentacles, or the King of Swords, with the Queen of Swords. I told you the feminine energy is coming in here. So she already made an appearance down here. So this means that this was set in motion back here. Who's your daddy? Can we not love ourselves? We might have had good intention, because this Knight of Cups along with the Six of Wands, what a combo platter that is. The Six of Wands is about getting your fingers dirty and getting down with the people that are doing the work. Grassroots, if you will. I cannot believe the amount of court cards coming out here. The Knight of Pentacles. Let's be honest, guys. We have an overinflated thought of ourselves when it comes to the United States. Why in the hell would we not come out with a bunch of court cards? The Knight of Pentacles along with the Eight of Swords is kind of like the, well, if I'm being practical for a second, why should I do it for you? I know what this is. Page of Swords along with the Ace of Wands. Big dick energy for you to look at my immature self. Yep, this is the Lamborghini at the White House, everybody. This is the convertible. This is the big yacht. This is the I want to, I want to do? Dad, I want Greenland. Can I have Greenland? Oh, and that body of water, it's been there forever, is going to be the Gulf of us, the Gulf of me, the Gulf of Trump. Oh, Sam Amata, thanks for tuning in. But wait, there's more. I'm sorry. Did you want positivity? A convicted felon is now running the White House. I didn't do that. You want to know negative energy? No. Cut the crap. There's a difference between negative energy and real energy. Authentic energy. I know it looks negative to you. Authenticity is a threat to those that aren't. Because listen, Queen of Swords with the Hermit card, I am telling you the elevation is coming, everybody. Let's be positive. Let's be positive. The Hermit card comes out with the Queen of Swords, which tells us to absolutely look within. Absolutely looking within for you to elevate. Take the emotion out of it, everybody. Take the emotion out for just a second. It's funny when you figure out who people are because I keep talking. The Four of Cups, missing out, along with the Six of Pentacles. So what we're actually answering here is we can help others, but we have to do it fastidiously. We can't just write blank wands. It's us taking on the burden of the world, everybody, because here's the World card. Can't make this stuff up. Can't make this stuff up. I think you guys are going to like this one. The Three of Wands, along with the Moon. The American dream isn't dead yet. The idea of us becoming a great country. The idea of us doing, we're just stumbling, guys. That's what this is. Oh, I love this. The Ace of Pentacles. The Ace of Pentacles is real. And guess what? The Ace of Pentacles is us saying we have to do what we can do, and we have to create a divine connection. Is it God? Is it aliens? I don't know. Where are you at in your evolution? Your personal truth and your personal God is about to be tested. Do you have what it takes to know the truth? Because here with the 5, we're going to lose out with that conflict. 5-on-5 action. When the 5 of Wands and the 5 of Cups get together, leads to heartbreak. We're heartbroken right now. Oh, I'm sorry, we'd be negative. We're just acknowledging our feelings. Those that have evolved to that understand it. Now, the 8 of Swords here is really interesting because this is where the work begins. What does this tell us about it? Oh, is this uncomfortable for us? The card of Uranus. Along with the 8, the sacred number. The sacred number of evolution. The sacred number. The sacred numbers of looking at things in a different way. Can't make this up. 2 of Wands covered by the 4 of Wands. Every little thing is gonna be all right now. The ultimate in relationships, the idea that we're going to make a decision, the fact that we have to do things intuitively differently from before. The old intuition allowed Saturn to be concrete. And it is heart-based action. It is centering yourself. And there's a difference between being grounded and being centered. You all feel ungrounded right now because our realities are changing. But are you centered? Yeah. That's the challenge. You could be uncentered but grounded in the moment. Right? You go outside, you put your feet in the grass, you hug a tree. There's a lot of things to feel grounded, but are you centered? Not necessarily. You could be centered and know where you want to go and know what you want to do and be able to pay attention to things. But are you grounded in the moment? Do you have an unsettled moment? Just because you're centered doesn't mean you're grounded, and just because you're grounded doesn't mean you're centered. But to say that we have a choice and we double down on this, we're going to find new ways to connect with others. By the way, President 9/11, it's 9/11. We are going to pull out these beautiful cards, these soul seed cards. I don't know where I get them. What can we do? How can we approach things? And by the way, I'm going to make sure I get a good screenshot of these in here. I'm going to pick this apart and get a good picture of it and post it later. So here on the top row, where we have the condition that we are in, masculine and feminine energy are going cold. We're taking out the emotions of it. We're trying to be literal. We're trying to take out the gray area. And by the way, somebody else's sexuality or plumbing has never affected anybody in the history of whatever, except for if you are offended by it and you haven't wrapped yourself around who it is that you are, and you are not centered and you are not grounded, and you tell everybody else what their plumbing is, and there are only two species, there are only two sexes. If there were 200 sexes, it would not affect you 1 bit of anything. If somebody comes up to you and says that they are a green Martian with 14 penises and a dozen vaginas up their back, it doesn't matter to you. I mean, I pay $5 to see it, but it doesn't matter anything to you. We're about to go through something of cut and dryness. No gray area. Gray area is threatening. Gray area is why you get away with treason, motherfuckers. So as we look across this top row of the love bombing, but for the right reasons, we tried letting out in the cold, but satisfying our own personal needs. The Ace of Wands, the big dick energy here of others. Did I not pull this card out earlier? I just reached into the middle of the deck. Spirit wanted this one out here, guys. So on this top row, we're going to listen to your intuition and trust your inner guides. What is right? As we go on to a spiritual journey, where we do have to look at the practical, we do overcome. By the way, 10, 10. 10 and 10. We do need to look at the practical. We have to look at how we spend our time and our effort, our energy. We are taking the burdens of the world on, but the American dream isn't over yet. It's not. We can do this. We just have to reshape it. We have to reform it. We have to Trump-proof it. I have an attitude and gratitude. Will gratitude get us through this? I don't know. Will it be taking advantage of it? Then in this final throw, the King of Pentacles covered by the Ace of Pentacles. Boil it down. We don't need everything. We need this. What do we really need? Are we working with a divine connection? 5 of Wands with the 5 of Cups, loss and fight and anger and pissed offness and fighting for resources. intuition. The Hangman is a highly intuitive, connective piece, connected to Uranus and Neptune, to be able to look at things in a different way. And the decisions that we make and the decisions to be happy, but how are we going to do this? I actually love this card. Listen to my body and honor it as it serves me today. I want to tell you why that's such an important card right there. I'm going to screenshot this. I'm going to make sure we get this out here. I'm going to tell you why. Listen to my body and honor it as it serves me today. I cannot believe that's the last card I pulled. This is not about all of your Democratic friends. This is not about your Republican enemies. This is not about conservatism. This is not about fascism. This is not about negative retribution. This is not taking over Greenland or Panama. This is not about getting out of NATO. This is not about lowering your eggs or your gas. It is not about immigrants that want a better life. It is not about cats. It is not about dogs. It's about you. It is about all of these distractions. So you live in fear and you don't develop. The Hermit card is the spiritual enlightenment and development that we need to go to. Remember when I said the lights aren't off? We just can't see them right now because we're too far down. Bring your own light. Enlightenment means knowledge from within. Listen to your body as it serves me. Everybody from this day forward, we preach about meditation, and we want to be the best meditators ever. We want to climb up Mount Fahanafi, sit under a lotus tree and meditate better than anybody else. Can we make meditation an Olympic event yet? Because we'd be really good, because if it's competitive, then we'll do it. Stop. You have to become awesome and not let a single person know. You have to find your inner light and not shine it for anybody unless you feel it's necessary. You have to become that powerhouse from within and decide where you're going to shine the light, who you're going to help. Because your neighbors have revealed themselves. The angry mob wants to take this away and distract you. Oh, you want to have a center? How about an audit? It's coming. Oh, you want to go out to the internet? Here's a little disruption. Here's your algorithm death. You have to set your compass, and you have to pay attention to where you're being guided every single day. All of those chakra classes that you took and those paint and sips that you went to say, hey, I'm doing a little creative. You were distracting yourself on a daily. Be honest with yourself. You took a couple of classes and you're like, I don't get it. Maybe it's for me. I can always go back to it. It's go time. Pull out your notes. Take what you learned. Do that meditation. Do that prayer. Whatever you were shown, whatever you were taught was important in this moment. You need to get your act together. We need you. We need everybody's energy. I mean, Is everything I just said negative? Is everything I said was so god-awful terrible? We all want to stop the world and get off. Not an option. You can say, I hope the aliens come down so we can leave. Great. I want to go to another country. Not helping. Maybe you are in the position that you are in so you can grow. Maybe instead of looking at all this stuff as humiliating and insulting, it is making you find out who in the hell you are. Because these two cards together are one of the most powerful combinations you can have in tarot. The Queen of Swords represents the hierarchy of knowing the emotional intelligence that we are, and the Hermit card is the evolution to the spiritual. The minor arcana and the major arcana together in this spread is nothing short of a direction you need to go in. Quit your crying. He's the president. Quit your blame games and your conspiracy theories. He cheated and got paid to do it. Quit looking at it as a conspiracy and just take it as is. The choices to lie were on them. They were on them in Dallas when Kennedy was shot. It was the choices in Abu Ghraib when people were tortured. It was the choice on 9/11 when they called down the planes. It was their choice to steal this election because they thought all that glittered was gold. They moved the goalpost and they moved the goal every chance they got. Every chance they got. It's our job to tell them that the field they've been playing in is an illusion. The economy will change because they will get too greedy. The supply chains will be squeezed because they didn't pay up. This is nothing less than a 1950s mafia story told in 2025. In all the hands in the pot, the white Christian nationalists that want to legislate how children are brought into the world and to this country so they can adopt them and make them Christians is in plain sight. The idea that we can villainize people that actually are the backbone of this country will give us no spine because they don't have one either. Be kind every chance you get. Be clear of your boundaries. Be clear of how you want to progress in this life. Because we can talk about all of the things that we can theorize and project, grift, and quite frankly, bullshit ourselves into a good night's sleep. But when you wake up tomorrow, there's an autocratic person in charge that doesn't understand empathy. He doesn't give a shit if you live or die. He doesn't care about your pain, your pleasure. He only cares about your weakness. He wants to find your weakness so he can give it to you for his loyalty. The pentacles in the tarot, in the simplest term, is money, but it is energy. It is the bartered system of what you have that is of value to someone else. Maybe it is money, maybe it is time, maybe it is security, maybe it is loyalty. The reason why this is go time is because You don't have a choice. You can curl up in a ball if you want to, and you can just say how terrible the world is. Thanks for watching. You can come on here and tell me that I'm negative or whatever. Okay. Thanks for watching. You have a choice. You can be happy with that choice because you choose to just go about your day and just say that's somebody else's problem. Yeah, sure, I don't think it's right, but whatever. What am I going to do? I'm just one person. Your choice might be to just bury your head in the sand, and guess what? You're going to be happy. You'll be happy because you won't know the difference. You haven't made a difference in who the hell cares. You have your HBO, you have your binge watching, you have your Oreos, you have whatever it is they tell you is okay to have, and you're like, well, at least we have that. You'll be happy. Or you have a choice. You have a choice to get off the couch and make a difference. You have a choice to become who you are meant to be. This is a path to two places. Will you find the enlightened way, or will you go down a path that looks pretty and you convince yourself? Is one path easier than the other? Oh, yeah, it always is. From Robert Frost to Dread Pirate Roberts, we make decisions. Do we make decisions and say, I'm going to help humanity? That's a happiness of another kind. He is not ordained. He is not divined. I can point out everything under the sun, and someday we're going to know this house of cards he's created, from the fake bullshit of this, that, and the other thing, to the manipulation and the grift and the payout and the whatever. He's in a trapped hell because now he has to defend and perpetrate every one of his lies because he's not authentic. I've made mistakes in my life. We all have, right? But never did I suffer so much than when I wasn't authentic and I had to stay ahead of all the things that I created. And it wasn't done out of deception. It was done out of survival. But when you live that life for even a second, and mine was 3 seconds, it hurt. It was restless nights of sleep. It was anger. It was deception. It was paranoia. It was unhealthy. The mirror that I see here is an unhealthy person trying to lead people, and he doesn't have it. He doesn't have what it takes. But what he does have is the ability to grift and stay ahead of the lie, manipulate and change it and gaslight it. This country is choking on the gaslighting he's doing right now. And one day you wake up and you say, authenticity is the only way to go. I know I'm going to upset you, but here it is. I know I want to grow in a way that I need to grow, and I'm just going to behave in a way that I want to get to where I want to get to, instead of worrying about your opinion or your thoughts or your whatever. Well, it's against the law. Okay. Laws have been ruled inadequate. Do you have the money to fight it? I don't know. Who does? But I will go down in authenticity and suffer the pain of trying to become something that you needed me to become. I will go down in authenticity because that is where the truth is. I will go down doing the work that I meant to do, to love and care for each other in an unabashed way, to take out the emotion, but to use my mind and my clarity to care about those around me. Aquarian card. Aquarian card. Aquarian card. I will go down using my emotional intelligence to care for others and myself, because my light will never go out. Ever. Ever. You want to know what it's going to take? It's going to take all of us. I'm going to give you the hard taps to remind one another that we're here to love and care for one another and to simply keep going. Thank you for keeping me going, guys. I'll see you soon. I'll see you in Texas. Thursday in Austin. Saturday in Houston, the Woodlands. Thank you guys for being part of my journey. Don't be surprised if I jump on and do a live from an airport somewhere or on the Rio Grande. Maybe I'll be in Texas and I'll go down to the border and protect somebody or do what people need. Got some healing to do. Keep going, guys.